today on JCBC with the most famous monetarist of our time, Milton Friedman. Mr. Friedman, I'd just like to begin with saying how much I admire your work and the theories that you have produced.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, how are you on this fine day?
Very well.
How about we begin with you telling us about your view on the monetary policy in studies in the quantity theory of money.
In the long run, the monetary growth increases the prices, but it doesn't have much of an effect on output. Although, in the short run, monetary policy causes unemployment and output to increase. Hence, the monetary policy in general should be used as a precautionary short-term measure.
What do you think of the Phillips curve? As we all know, through the 60s, Keynesian, mainstream economists, believed that there was a trade-off with inflation and unemployment. But what do you think about the Phillips curve?
Well, it's rubbish, isn't it? Keynesians believe that the government could, by increasing the demand for goods and services, permanently reduce the amount of unemployment by accepting a higher inflation rate. Firstly, this is far too perfect. As always, Keynesians do not look at the long-term effect of their policies.
No.
As once people adjusted to the higher inflation rate, unemployment would gradually increase. To keep unemployment permanently low, the economy would not just require inflation, but inflation at an accelerating rate. Hyperinflation!
What do you think of the Phillips curve? As we all know, through the 60s, Keynesians believed that there was a trade-off with inflation and unemployment. But what do you think about the Phillips curve?
Well, it's rubbish, isn't it? Keynesians believe that the government could, by increasing the demand for goods and services, permanently reduce the amount of unemployment by accepting a higher inflation rate. Firstly, this is far too perfect. As always, Keynesians did not look at the long-term effects of their policies, as once people adjusted to higher inflation rate, unemployment would gradually increase. To keep unemployment permanently low, the economy would just not require inflation, but inflation at an accelerating rate. Hyperinflation.
Why do you believe the Fed were to blame for the Great Depression that brought America to an all-time low?
I believe it was caused by monetary contraction,
As you do for everything.
where the quantity of money declined by 1/3 from 1929 to 1933. This was solely the result of poor policy making by the Federal Reserve and the continuous crisis of the banking system. The Great Contraction, as I like to call it, was far from it being a failure of the free enterprise system. It was actually a tragic failure of the government.
So, the Arab oil embargo in 1973 caused a crisis because the shortage in the US raised prices drastically. Do you believe the rise in prices of oil caused inflation?
Sorry, my throat. Honestly, I don't believe in cost-push inflation because increases in the cost of goods and services do not lead to inflation without the government and its central banking cooperating in increasing the money supply. If money supply is constant, increases in the cost of a good or service will decrease the money available for other goods and services, and therefore the price of some of those goods will fall and offset the rise in price of those goods whose prices have been increased. Therefore, it shouldn't have caused prices to rise if the government hadn't intervened with the money supply in the economy. This can be explained by the price of oil going back down in the 1980s, with no corresponding deflation, showing that it wasn't a result of cost-push inflation to begin with.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Friedman.
Thank you for having me. And to all the economists out there, I love cake.